I moved back here in 89, 90, 89. And when I came back, I just ran across a lot of neighborhood bickering. It was kind of like a violent situation there, which I didn't like because I didn't see that when we was coming about. So the idea with myself and a couple other folks, we sit down, I was in a block club at the time. I said, how can we show youth that we didn't go to the extreme to have a point settle with a gun, street type fight?
When Henry Combs basically came up with the concept of trying to put this together and do something for the community, and the first ones, we weren't really sure what was going to happen.
Henry asked for volunteers to be on the committee and to do this every year and try to have the game, bring community together, have people friends and things that haven't been together for a long time.
But I thought maybe it'd be ideal if we had a game, a basketball game from those two schools that they could see if I was playing against another person from Central per se, then maybe those kids were battling each other, understood that we, as older, we knew each other.
Central and Mechanics, there was one junior high, Marshall, and see, all the kids went to Marshall, and then you went to Central or Mechanics. And see, that's kind of where the friendly rivalry came together because you played on the same teams in junior high.
For a Central alumnus, the worst thing you could do is lose to Mechanic Arts during the course of the year, because not only did you hear it from the Mechanic Arts players, but the elder people in the community who I had uncles and cousins that went to Central, they would never let you live that down.
They seen it and realized that we all knew each other. So there wasn't no reason for them to be going to war with each other.
We had great response from alumnus because 20 years ago, everybody still thought they could play. And everybody still wanted to show their wares and show what they could do.
When we first started the game, people would say they didn't know when the game was going to be. We'd always have flyers and things like that, but the word of mouth is the best way to get the word out.
And they look forward to it. And just sitting there and talking with each other. We all do good when we got conversation pieces that we can talk about. And when you laugh, that make the soul feel better.
And this was probably a gathering point to try and showcase, ex-athletes and how their involvement in the community is still a very important thing to do.
The Inner City Athletic Association is who is putting this on, and it's a nonprofit organization. And the more people we get to come see the game, the better off we are in paying all of our things we have to afford to pay.
If I could get those people that came from them schools back in my days, because we all got along together, even though we were from different schools, but we understood that if we wanted to do something, if I can call on someone, who best to call on? So people from Central or Mechanic. Even though I went to Mechanic, I knew a bunch of people from Central.
Probably after the first 10 years, it got to the point where it starts feeding on itself. And so that now it's part of a tradition. And this is what you hope to build up in any community, is strong tradition, strong values, strong traditions.
And the ladies last year was the big game. I mean, for years, the older guys have been the big game and everything, but everyone wanted to see the ladies, and I think this year excitement is building again.
One of the things that we kind of do now is have some of the ninth graders play during alumni game day so they can see how important they take those three players, because we ask 3 players from each school. Then they can take that and take it back to their school, playing with each other. And hopefully they can get a few other guys to play with each other and understand this is how you get better.
Now each year people in the community are clamoring to find out, well, when's the alumni game coming, you know, and how can I help and how can I participate? And I think just not only by participating, but by showing young people the venue, how to do it and how to act during it, it just helps feeds on itself.
We didn't have as many, and you weren't afforded the opportunity to play in as big a stage as you do now.
The message we want to send, if we can do it from a small base and neighborhood, we should be able to do anything. And if kids can listen to this, they will be able to understand they're not lost. They just got to be creative.
It kind of brings them back to the days of their youth. And so they have a chance to relive those times, albeit a little different, you know, and maybe at a little slower pace. But it just gives you that feeling again.
Back in the time when I played, there was not that many black players playing in the city conference. And if there were black players, they were playing for either Central or Mechanics.
It was a deal that we respect each other. We were highly competitive, but we had the respect from each other, said, from being from the neighborhood.
I hearken back to watching the Masters, and Jack Nicklaus was talking about he won the Masters at 46. And they said, well, what did you think? He said, it made me feel young. So hopefully this game will make them feel young again for a minute.
Make sure that someone is there to, like I said, take Henry's spot when he no longer wants to do it, see what we can keep this community thing going and growing and helping as many kids as we can and with whatever problems they have.
I had to give a lot of the players credit, because when they support and come out and play, their fee covers a lot of things. And it ain't like we make a lot of money, just enough to cover the bills, but the ideal of doing it is more important.